I talk for a living. I'm a broadcaster. Story. What else? I'm married. Cut that part.
No, don't cut that part. Don't cut that part. No, please don't cut it. Don't.
Moderator. So it now looks like fan, Be like, yeah, I invented it. So I've been that tech person right away from my young days. I love media.
I wish you were wearing that bag.
You understand?
Eyelashes.
Alert.
Hey, oh, good luck, alert.
Worry.
Mr. SEYILAW, how you doing? Good to have you here.
It's nice to be with you.
I found out recently that you are from Ilaje here in Ondo State. That's news to me because I didn't know that.
And you're probably not staying up to date with me. You should be fine. I should find you for that because I'm always all about my place. I'm a proud Ilaje boy. I'm not just proudly Ilaje, I'm a proud one.
That's good to know. That's good to know. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
You called my name rightly well, except for the place where you missed Oluwa. I'm a man with big, deep name. Aletile, that's my son, in which my end has not come. That means there is still hope. A man who is not dead yet still has hope. And that's why it's Aletile, not Aletile. Aletile.
Aletile.
Let is son. Ìdílé Uyi, meaning that I'm from, a royal house. Oluwaseyitan. God has perfected this completely.
I'm not Yoruba.
That's what I'm trying to explain to you, so that you know how deep those names are. And Lawrence, which means crown with victory. So trust me, I'm a man with names that are deep and are, as good for my calling as possible. I remember I had my primary school somewhere in Ondo State here in Okitupa, called the Stakawe Memorial Primary School.
Okay.
And at one point, I was at St. Peter's Unity Secondary School in Akure.
I did my NYSC there.
Where I did my junior secondary school one as DSS 1, and then I proceeded to Unity Secondary School Care, which is now in State Government College, where I had my GS2 and GS3. And I proceeded to Methodist Boys High School. I'm a well-traveled educationist. If I can use that word, and there I had my, senior secondary school in Lagos, Methodist Boys High School. And, I had some lapses in between my education before I decided to do part-time at the Lagos State Polytechnic. From there, I've taken my time to also do some professional courses like health safety and environment, human resource management.
Bringing ideas to life is one of the greatest achievements of mankind. When imaginations meet creativity, style, identity, confidence is what we get. At Optimus Cult, we create a lifestyle you desire.
I'm a man who appreciates every aspect of my journey. And the reason why I say that is because there is a significance to every aspect of the journey. I remember after my cousin took me to that first church program to perform, somebody reached out to me immediately after my performance that they would like me to feature in that church program. And for me, that was an omen. Just from the first stage, you get into making money. Although the money wasn't huge, they promised to pay me 700 naira. And why was I quick to accept that offer then? I remember I was running a business center where my daily profit would probably amount to about 700 naira or 500 naira. And then somebody just told me that I should come to their church to perform. And after 10 minutes, I'll get 700. That was a huge one back then. And this was in 2005. That's to tell you that it's not so far away, you know. And so, from that church where they promised to pay me 700 naira, I went there to perform. I met a maker. I wasn't eventually paid 700 naira. So my first comedy fee that I was paid was 500.
Well, they even reduced the money.
After they started, you know, probably because I was the least popular person in the program, I was paid last, and by the time they were paying me, they had started complaining that the money from offering was not enough. So from there I met the Maker Smith, who took me to his church, you know, told me there was going to be a church program in his church, and when he invited me, I got there. I had some challenges with the other organizers of the show who felt I wasn't qualified to be on their church altar. But eventually at some point there was lapses and they needed somebody to cover it up, and then they introduced me. And I had about 4 standing ovations in between my performance. You know, I had that, and at that point, Jerry, who was the guest comedian, ran on stage and he heard me on stage, was like, man, this is something that is waiting to explode in this country. This guy is good, this one is raw talent and all those stuff. And Jerry was the one who introduced me to AY. And that was how the journey with AY started. You see the significance of every part of the journey. And I went on to become the first winner of the AY's Open Mic Comedy Competition. And I became very prominent at the AY live shows. And from there, I joined the Night of 1,000 Laughs, you know, and everything kept growing. And
yes, I know you're very popular with that Ukrokro. Yeah, that was the first thing I said. So every time I hear Sheila, that's the first thing that comes to mind, that Ukrokro part.
You know, and everybody seems to have their own aspect of Sheila that they love, and that is one beautiful thing. I remember one time when I did Night of 1,000 Laughs, and some people saw me. They were saying some no good. You know, when they were saying it, I couldn't recall what was.
What they were saying,
I couldn't recall. Some nungus. I was wondering what's some nungu, until one of my colleagues a cappella said, "That is from your performance from Night of 1,000 Laughs." So I had to tell him, "Can you get me the CD?" He got me the VCD there. And I watched it, and I remember what I said after that song "Don't Good." So another time I was somewhere at the beach, I think, and somebody said "Song Don't Good," and I said, "Oh, when it's on your body, when it's on Don't Good," you know. And that person had a huge laugh. Went to call other people, come on, you know. And also, you know, I remember when that VCD came out, the AY Live VCD, where I talked about mosquito. And people would say mosquito day on the area. You know, people tend to pick their favorite from everything that happens from our performance. Some people will see me till date. They call me Jantufugu, which was from a skit we did way back in 2007. You know, and then some other people will see me and they say, "Bujunwa, calamari, stop putting my partner down with Bujunwa." You know, that's because people just tend to meet you at different aspects of your life. And they love you for what they see. And that's why I tell people, just be you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so that's good to know. That's good to know. I mean, I really like your journey. I like your consistency. I like your consistency. I like the way that you have been able to, you know, infuse so many things into your career. I know you act. You are into event planning, you're a stand-up comedian, you are a master of ceremony too, and all of that. So have you been able to manage all of this? Is it not asking? Have you become, especially because you're a family man too?
Yeah, I think one of the good thing about entertainment is that it's an in route to a diverse aspect of who you are. You know, some of these things are inherent; they're inside of us, but then we really don't take our time to discover them or want to put them out there. One of the things that I tend to do was that when I started, you know, I'm somebody who loves to read wide. You know, I love to read wide. You know, every topic that is available to me, I want to take advantage of it. I want to gain the knowledge. You know, I love history. I love books. You know, and I take my time to study and read all those stuff. And I wake up in the morning, trust me, I want to get all the information that is circulating, and you know, so that when I talk, people will respect me for it. And for several years, you see, every aspect unveiled itself along the way. I didn't just wake up and jump into acting, you know, which was what I wanted to do at first. But when comedy came, I tend to grow with the comedy, and from the comedy, the acting part started, you know, from acting the skits to being in my first movie, which was a Yoruba movie, quite a long while ago in 2008. And from there, I featured in another one called Igba with the late PC Komolafe. You know, and from there, I've been in what you call blockbuster movies, you know, from Wedding Party 2 to Survivor of Jelili to Your Excellency to My Wife and I, you know. So it's growth. And then for years, despite having knowledge about the industry, I didn't take up the motivational aspect of me where I get to speak to people. I wanted to be sure that, okay, if I'm speaking on this topic, that means I'm knowledgeable enough to speak about it. I've gone through the process of growth, and I can tell people this is what I have done to get to where I am, you know. And then when it comes to TV presentation, you know, hosting program on TV, you know, I took my time before I decided to do that. And that started with my first program on TV, which was OLX, you know, where they brought me in to help them, you know, interview people, you know, host the program. And from there, I've been on Comedy Central with the Comedy Central Grab the Mic, you know, from there, my personal TV program. And, you know, we're taking things even to social media. And also, you know, in terms of business, you know, you want to diversify, you want to understand the aspect of business, which is part of the reason why I've taken other professional courses to improve on myself, you know, and it's been good all the way, really.
And I must tell you, we're so proud of you. Nigeria is proud of you because you have put us on the map, the global map. I know you do shows all over the world. I know. So, I mean, we are so proud of you. I don't know. This comedy thing, so I don't know, some people have it in them, like once they talk like this, once they open their mouth like this,
yes,
people are laughing. But you know, when it comes to performing on, you know, big stages, you know, those platforms, do you comedians, do you sit down to write your joke, or is it something that you just freestyle, like it just comes? Or
you know, like I said, everything is process. I can decide to make our conversation funny. You know, as a comedian, I can decide to make it funny. But at the same time, sometimes when I get into some certain conversation and I get in front of TV, I tend to be a little bit, I love to bring out the serious part of myself.
I'm actually seeing this side.
You know,
it feels very different.
Yes, that is because I want people, most especially the young ones,
yes,
to be able to listen and pick some, and not just laugh it all away, and pick some very important topic, you know, pick some very key points,
yes,
that can affect their life, that can make them better. You know, things are no longer the way it used to be when we thrive on mentorship, service, you know, you serve people to gain better knowledge into things. Things are no longer that way. People don't see service as something that they should get into right now. You know, they believe that I can just read the book, I know what I'm doing, so why should I go and start this person? I can start my own business, you know. And that is why I see a young average Nigerian person who's trying to get into business, and the books he's trying to read is all about Bill Gates, he's trying to read about Mark Zuckerberg, you know. and all these foreign people, and then you forget that there is a terrain where you're operating. You know, and I always tell people, have you ever asked that woman who's been selling rice around your neighborhood for years? She's built houses from selling that rice, you know, and other. Have you ever asked what are the things she had to do to remain consistent? The day she was tired, how she managed to leave her home to still do that business, despite the tiredness and all those stuff. These are some of the things that we miss because we feel it is not global enough, you know. And these are people who have done business locally but have trained their children globally. So we need to understand those aspects and start looking inwards to explore, you know, the available experiences around us to make better judgments of what we want to do. And so, you know, in all of it, as a person, I believe that we should try as much as possible not to just be a force to reckon with in entertainment, but a force that impacts life and change life differently. That is one of the things that I really believe.
That's very good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
But we'll go laugh because
I don't know for the serious one. I don't too serious.
The serious one was serious. We must tell people say be serious. We must be serious. You understand what I'm saying? You know, and sometimes because people, you want to try not to become stereotype. People see Sheila, just believe. I think one of the very good things about Nigerian comedy is that we're very brilliant people. You know, comedians tend to start their career by writing their own materials and, you know, performing it. And somehow they grow big internationally now. You know, if you look internationally, they start by writing their career, they grow big, then they start having comedy script writers, you know, that now help them to tailor their performances and all those stuff. So, but in Nigeria, we tend, maybe because of fun, we tend to do that almost all our life. Who really writes comedy for us? There is really nobody. And then you also need to understand that for comedy, spontaneity is the life of the business. Okay. If you are not spontaneous enough, because you can readily run out of material. Well, especially you get to a new crowd and then you discover that things are quite different from, you know, where you're coming from, and then you have to improvise. So you look for things around there to make people laugh. I remember one time when I came to Akure, and you know, I know, yes, I can make people laugh, but then I have to look around and see what I can use to make people laugh. And I remember I was talking about the person will get money, they come club for Akure where they wear masks. The money too much, they don't need to see the face. Say now for person will not get money, now they come club, go buy and drink, and then they like wear cardigan inside hot, inside hot weather. You know, so these are some of the things that you tend to play around with, because when you say that and people turn around and they see some boys who are wearing cardigan, they don't say that they don't get money. Then you can't look their table, you can't see the Andre, then they treat you know, and then you see one guy who is popping all the bottles and he's putting on masks. Then you know that is spontaneity for you. And sometimes some of us we've gone to that stage where we just go on stage without even realizing, and then we just freestyle and it's working. You know, it's a different thing. You freestyling and you discover it's not working. You quickly go back to your joke archives. You bring out some jokes from the archive. But then sometimes you get on stage, you freestyle and it's working, and then you just continue and you are hitting it and you are hitting, and then you just get some kind of, you know, some type of ovation, and you say, it is time for me to leave the stage. So comedians write their joke, comedians learn to be very spontaneous. You know, that is just it. You just enjoy the moment.
Okay, so let's take it back to, you know, people that are just coming up in the comedy business, people that are just trying to go into comedy. I know that, there are sometimes when people, do comedy and, that situation where people don't get to laugh. For those people, it's a form of, discouragement for a lot of people who are feeling like, okay, I put so much effort, to write this joke and come up with it, and then nobody's laughing. Is comedy not for me? Should I go into something else? Am I not funny? So I know over time you've been able to, come out of that, because I'm sure there are days like that.
See, there is no comedian who has not had a bad day. We call it bad day on stage. In Nigeria, we joke with ourselves. We say, oh boy, they flogged me koboko today. All your blood just full everywhere. If you see all the flogging, as I drop the first joke, the thing went, I just tear for my back. Oh, if you see if you see blood everywhere, toothpaste. That's how we joke among ourselves as comedians. When somebody goes on stage, he comes backstage, and the performance is somehow, we say, oh boy, they tell you koboko. Say, my brother, I see one today. Some will get to the stage where we go thick skin against those things, because audience are different. You go different places, you meet different people, like I said earlier. For somebody who is just coming up, you have to be very resilient. Very, very resilient. As an upcoming comedian, you have to be very resilient. Now, the social media has bridged a gap that we didn't have when we started. The gap that we didn't have, the social media has been able to bridge it. And that is being able to perform to people without necessarily seeing them. So their reaction to the post tells you if this is funny or not. You understand? Unlike during our own, you trek from Olile, trek go Aguda. You go the place, you perform, if they don't laugh, my brother. You forget to enter Okada, you trek from Aguda, they come Olile. Because the Koboko where they flog, you don't be here. You understand? But for me, personally, somehow, I had very little bad days in my entire career. I probably had only performed in about 3 places where I didn't get the kind of laughter that I wanted. I probably, all through my career, it's probably about 3 places, or 3 times. But the other times it has worked for me, and I'm grateful for that. And one of those places, I remember I got an event where they paid up front, and they told me it was their end of year party. And the end of year party I was used to is where they take a hall, and then they are all in the hall, and then the DJ is playing, and I have a microphone, and I'll come and perform. And then this time they paid me part of the money, and I get to the place, and I discovered that these people only had a table in the midst of a club. DJ is blasting music. People are dancing away their sorrow somewhere. And he just told me to stand without the mic, entertaining those of them that are seated around that table. My dear, I wasn't funny. Oh boy, I hold the microphone. I tried the first, not microphone. I tried, to make them laugh. It didn't work. I tried another joke. I wasn't getting the right response. I tried another joke. Then the next thing they just said I should sit down, let them eat first. And while they were eating, they started telling themselves inside office jokes, and these people were cracking up. I just told them I was coming. I didn't collect my balance till today. I just told them I was coming, and then I left that place. I just called up one of my friends, Emeka Smith. I said, Emeka, where you dey? He's saying day one event for City Mall. I just said they come meet you for that event. Because me, as I didn't have a good performance, now that day, my inside no go, my inside no go well for 4 months. I hate to have a bad day. So I took a bike from that place, went to meet Emeka Smith, and when I got to that Emeka Smith event, I heard the microphone, and people were laughing, falling on themselves, and I told myself, I just learned a new lesson. Okay. That if I find myself in this type of gathering, then what can I do to make them laugh? Instead of me cracking normal joke, I should have just freestyle. I should have just been spontaneous. And that was the day I made the decision that when I enter anywhere, I must look for a minimum of 5 things that I can use to crack joke. Okay. So every time I enter somewhere, I'm already looking around, looking for 5 things. Like, you know, the moment we enter this place, the TV on the wall, the way they hide them inside, you don't even know whether I'm a box TV or a plasma. You know, even the pictures in the house can be separate from each other. Probably like say the roof they leak. You know, so automatically the moment I enter a place, 5 things, I look around, I pick 5 things, even more, but then that I can freestyle with. So if I try my regular joke, it's not going to work. I pick on those things. So it sounds very spontaneous to the people. It evokes better laughter sometimes. So that's the way. Not comedian has not had a bad deal. So if you're a young from comedian, you've hit that rough part or patch, just try as much as possible to be very resilient and keep working at it. One of the most resilient comedians that I know is Bobby Uboma. And you know, I love to learn from people. I don't care whether you're a young comedian just coming up. If I see something spectacular about you, I'm grabbing it, I'm learning, and I'm improving on myself too. You know, I remember when Bobby started, it wasn't all rosy. You know, Bobby is more like a scripted comedian who comes, you know, and you know, he delivers his materials, and you can see the flow. And some of us, we are like, we just hold the microphone, we just start to the ginger, we talk, and the man can begin, you know, the man can, as the man, today, Bobby is not that kind of person. He's more calm with his material, dropping his routine. And so because some of us are very energetic, when we come before that calmness that is bringing on stage, and it took a while for people to adjust to his kind of comedic performance, which Nigerians are not used to. You know, Nigerians we like. As the man does the man come, he come. So you know, you trust me. Bobby was able to stay consistent. He was resilient. You know, he's gritty, and look at what we have today. One of the best comedians this continent has ever known.
Thank you so much, Seyilaw, for being on Talk Time with Willie. It has been an amazing time with you. You're still going to make us laugh. You're going to make us laugh.
Who says I won't make you laugh? Once you drop money, just like you see, I'm a Yoruba man, I'm an Nigerian man that is married to Igbo. Just drop money, just like you. You'll be shocked. My wife will be the one to call me, baby. Make them laugh now. My wife, once you drop money, my wife gets their laugh very quickly. Even without paying it in the bank.
Bringing ideas to life is one of the greatest achievements of mankind. When imaginations meet creativity, style, identity, confidence is what we get. At Optimus Cult, we create a lifestyle you desire.
So welcome to the game session of Talk Time with Willie. So Mr. Seyilaw, I'm going to put this on your ear. Loud music, I'll say a word and you guess the word. Are you good to go?
This thing when they make person go pronounce person go talk something else, you come again talk.
Okay, so let's go.
Please, if you want me to get this thing right, please call something that has to do with money.
Money.
Job.
Okay, so. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Can I hear you?
We've not started, I just want to start. Okay. President Muhammadu Buhari. President Muhammadu Buhari. President Muhammadu Buhari.
Flexing.
Let me give you a school.
Wait. Let me look at your mouth.
President Muhammadu Buhari.
Buhari.
That's not what I said though.
You said Buhari?
President Muhammadu Buhari.
Wait. Is Buhari, is that what he said?
President Muhammadu Buhari. President Muhammadu Buhari.
President Buhari!
Yeah, you did. This is my turn. I have got a word.
Which word I will use now? Which you know, yeah.
I'm a product.
I'm Aphrodite. I'm Aphrodite. I'm Aphrodite. I'm Aphrodite. I'm Aphrodite. Party. Hermaphrodite.
I'm a foof.
I'm a fufu. I'm a fufu.
I'm a fufu.
Party.
Look at me. Look at me.
Hermaphrodite.
I'm Aphrodite. One more time, your turn. Let me see. Okay. Can you hear me?
Can I take my mind off this music?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
And I used to know how to read lips. So.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Night of a thousand laugh.
You want to talk to Zlatan?
Night of a thousand laugh. Night of a thousand laugh. Night of a thousand laugh.
Can I hear myself?
Night of a thousand laugh.
Can I hear myself?
Night of a thousand laugh. Night of a thousand laugh.
Night.
Night of a thousand laugh. Night of a thousand laugh.
Night of a thousand laugh.
You try.
You know, it's really been wonderful on the program. You know, I've enjoyed every bit of it. You know, I think you're one of the first person that I'm really having this kind of interview with in Ondo State, and I'm very happy that we could do this. You know, Ondo State is a blessed state. I love this state very much, and you know I'm an Iladia person.
Proud one.
Proud one, like I said, not just proudly Iladia, I'm a proudly Iladia son. You know, and one thing with the Iladia people, no matter how much we have become Christian, Ayala must be in everything we do. That's why as an Iladia person, we see something that is very interesting, you know, something that is beautiful, say Ayala. You understand? You see something that is horrible that happened. Accident, you know, you know. Even one pastor was in the church, while he was turning, he was in the spirit, he jumped up, fan caught his hand, the guy shouted inside the church, loud. It was when he thought that the church member were looking at him that he said, you know, that is what I just wanted to say something about my people, you know, like the Ladies are very proud. And I always say this, you know, one of the places in Nigeria where you can find the, should I say, roughest drivers in the world is Ibadan.
Okay, yes.
You know,
I agree.
Ibadan is the only state in Nigeria where the name of their cars sound like Yoruba. Micra, Subaru.
I agree. Pointer. I agree.
I will be driving, you are driving in Ibadan, then somebody is doing like this. Then you will almost sit and say, are you stupid? How can you drive like that? Someone you are get pointer is more indicating me.
I agree.
And you know Yoruba people, once you speak one English that they don't understand, they think you are abusing them. That was how one was driving in Ibadan, and kí ló dé máa ń ṣe àwọn individual tó ń lọ kọ́ èmi individual kàdá fún àwọn aráàlú ní individual àwọn tó ní individual tó fẹ́ sí èrè ní individual ní ọ̀pá somebody now say individual mean ẹnìkan ní somebody ìṣe ìmọ̀ bọ́sẹ̀ sí ọmọ rẹ̀ bọ́ sépè fún mi ni individual ló náà gbogbo àjọ individual.
Thank you so much, Mr. Seyilaw, for being on Talk Time with me today. I had such an amazing time. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you. So guys, we had an exciting time on Talk Time with Winnie with Seyilaw. Please join us same time next week on Talk Time with Winnie. Thank you.